All right, going to talk about keys for Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Keys for Nico, keys for success against Ohio State this upcoming weekend. We got 3 or 4 keys that we want to talk about, and we're going to look at maybe 4 or 5 clips of film demonstrating these keys that Nico has done this season. But before we talk about Nico, before we look at this film, let's talk about Ohio State's defense for 1-2 minutes. Then we'll dive into Nico. So Ohio State's defense has only given up 17 points more than once this entire season. That was in their loss to Oregon when they gave up 32 points. The number 1 defense in the Big Ten when it comes to points per game, only giving up 10.9. That probably puts them at number 1, or at least fighting for number 1 when it comes to top defense in the nation. Number 1 in the Big Ten in yards allowed. Number 1 in the Big Ten versus the pass game, only giving up 144 points in the pass game. When I say number 1 in the Big Ten, obviously I mean lowest yards allowed per game. Number 2 in the Big Ten in sacks with 35. So you get the drift. They've only given up 17 points more than once the entire season. One of the best defenses in the whole nation. And now the only team that had success against Ohio State's defense was Oregon, and they scored 32 points. Now they have a high-powered offense. They got a veteran quarterback. But Ohio State did something a little different against Oregon that, slowed them down a bit, but they still gave up 32 points. They didn't blitz nearly as much as any other game they played in the Big Ten. They actually only blitzed 36% of Dylan Gabriel's dropbacks, and they got 0 sacks. Now they have 35 sacks in the Big Ten. They're number 2 in sacks in the Big Ten, but had 0 against Oregon. That's the least amount of time they've blitzed compared to any other Big Ten opponent. Every other Big Ten game, they were blitzing 50-ish% of the quarterback's dropbacks. Give or take a few. Some games high 40s, some games high 50s, but 50-ish% give or take. So it's interesting to see what they will end up doing against Tennessee. Again, the only time they did not have success against an offense was when they decided not to bring pressure. They had 0 sacks. So let's talk about Nico. Let's talk about what we think the keys are for Nico against Ohio State, and then we'll go ahead and look at some film. I think the biggest takeaway for me is just be him. Just be you. Continue development. Continue what we've seen these past few weeks in SEC play. The last 5 SEC games, he has 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, so a 4-to-1 TD ratio. Now, 4 of those touchdowns came against Vanderbilt. I get it, but Vanderbilt is an improved team. I still think that is a good example of Nico's development. And against Vandy, that was, if we could talk about Vandy just for a second, then we'll talk about these keys. That was a complete game. So I think being able to play a complete game against Ohio State is key. I know Vandy isn't on the same level as Ohio State, but you still strive for that goal. You still strive to play a complete game, and a complete game means he was able to adapt to what the defense threw at him. He was good against the blitz. He was good when Vandy dropped 7 or 8, and then of course he relied on play action a bunch like Tennessee's offense has done the entire season. So what are the 4 main keys for Nico against this Ohio State defense? Key number 1, I think utilize play action. That's what he is most comfortable doing right now. That's what he's most comfortable throwing out of right now is play action. Off play action this season, 58% of his dropbacks have been off play action. 16 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, 69% completion percentage, 9.3 yards per attempt. So all his deep balls, the majority of the stuff comes off play action, which is part of Heupel's offense. We get it. Not off play action. When he has a straight drop back, he's only completing 58% of his passes. He has a 6.7 yards per attempt. So things go down drastically whenever the use of play action isn't there. Not to say he can't. He has shown it. We're going to show some film of him doing it in a second. It's just not as consistent. He's not as comfortable on those type of throws. Key number 2, go through your reads, go through your progressions. We saw him do a lot better of this. If you follow this channel, we've talked about this of Nico going through progressions, staying in the pocket. At the beginning of the season, he looked like he was more comfortable rolling out, utilizing his legs, throwing on the run. In these last few games against SEC opponents, you've seen him stay in the pocket a bit more, which I think has been really good for his development. Key number 3, do well against the blitz and when the defense drops 7 or 8. Again, I don't know what Ohio State is going to be doing. They're going to try to confuse Nico, of course, pre-snap to post-snap, where that means they're going to look like they're going to blitz and drop back, or look like they're going to drop 7 or 8 and blitz. Regardless of what that is, be prepared to adapt to whatever Ohio State throws at you from that standpoint. Then key number 4, which may be the biggest key of the game, maybe underrated key, utilize your legs just enough. Utilize it as a runner, but also scrambling and throwing on the run, I think, could get Ohio State out of position. So my main questions are, what happens if Ohio State takes away play action? And then question number 2 is, can you avoid sacks? Can you avoid pressure? Can you stay out of bad situations if you're Nico and if you are the Tennessee offense? So we're going to look at 4 or 5 clips of Nico. Again, utilize play action, go through your reads, perform well against the blitz, and when the team defense drops 7 or 8, then utilize your legs just enough. I think these are the keys for Nico, and if he's able to do this, I think that's going to lead to a complete game, and that's going to lead to Tennessee being in a good position to win the game at the end of the fourth quarter. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and check out maybe 4 or 5 clips of Nico, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this video up. All right, so we got, I think, 4 or 5 clips that we'll watch of Nico. And Tennessee fans, if y'all have seen the channel before, y'all know this is broadcast footage. I have to slow it down, so I do apologize, but it does a good enough job getting the point across. So these first few clips, we're going to see play action. Again, he was so much more comfortable off play action than he was on straight dropbacks. Now, development over time, yes, you want to get better at dropping straight back, but let's utilize play action right now. So play action, this is against Vanderbilt. It's going to be a touchdown down the seam to the middle of the field. And we'll see that Vanderbilt only brings 3, right? Only bringing 3. Play action comes in. It gets the defense out of position. You got some type of zone, maybe type of zone defense here. The fake of the run gets the defense to drop in. It's a nice touch pass from Nico. And there's a few different ways to go up play action. You have this touch pass like here against maybe a zone defense, or regardless the defense was out of position. This next play action clip is a really good throw by Nico against Alabama. Off play action. It's going to be seam, a little quick seam here to the receiver. Nice little fade action for touchdown here. Good coverage. This is against man defense. We saw one against either zone or some type of blown coverage where Nico still had to put touch on the ball for a good throw. And then we see this pass here for a touchdown. Let me move myself. We see this pass here for a touchdown on a 3rd and 5 off of play action. So let's go ahead and keep moving along to the other keys here. So we saw him do well. We saw him do well when the defense was dropping 7 or 8. And then here is the defense against the blitz. We're blitzing. We're coming in. Yeah, we're bringing 5 here, so he drops back. But there's 5 coming. It is against the blitz. There's a nice deep out here against Vandy. So being able to do well against the blitz, being able to do well when they drop 7 or 8, and utilizing play action is key. And then going through your read is going to be huge as well. This next clip coming up is actually Nico go on a straight drop back, a type of throwing a straight drop back pass, something we want to continue to improve on. But you see he goes through his progressions. He has plenty of time. This is the defense dropping 8 here, able to hit the middle of the field right here. It's a good job by Nico at first. He goes field side. Look, goes field side. And this is, I think, has been Nico's biggest development, biggest improvement area as the season has gone along. Getting comfortable in the pocket. Like in the week 4, week 5, he may have kind of got skittish and try to roll out when he didn't have to. Right now, we see him sit in the pocket, go through his progressions, and make a nice throw to the middle of the field. This is a third and 14 against Vandy. Then the last key, which could be an underrated key, and Tennessee fans, I'm interested to hear from you, is his ability to utilize his legs, especially if Ohio State can get pressure. We see Bama does get pressure here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They bring 6. Tennessee has 6 to protect, but they still get pressure here. Right? They have 6. Maybe they have 7. Yeah, I think they have 7. I miscounted. But anyways, Nico's able to escape the pocket, make a guy miss. Boop, nice move, get upfield. So I think utilizing your legs as a runner, I think could get Ohio State out of position, and then some throws outside the pocket as well. But Tennessee fans, I want to hear from you. What do you think the keys are for success for Nico, for the Tennessee offense? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, we think utilizing play action. We think the ability to go through your reads, the ability to adapt if they drop 7 or 8 or blitz, and then utilizing your legs, I think could be key for Nico. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, we're just a big SEC quarterback hub. We talk all things SEC quarterbacks. We've done content of Nico the entire season. We'll continue to put up Nico content in the offseason. So if you like that type of stuff, please like, share, subscribe. It helps us grow. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.